Skorch the Fears, episode 16, y'all, with Faizul and Sam. Look at these beautiful guys. You guys might be winning the most beautiful on the podcast yet. I don't know. I'd have to go into my head about who it's been, but I'm so excited to have you guys on. I've been meaning to have a partnership that's like a visionary and an integrator because this is something I'm really curious about. I haven't had them on together. I might have had, there was 1-2 guys that I had on that were kind of that, but I don't think they understood the terms well. I think they just do it instead of like knowing what that means. But I'm excited to have you guys on. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, I'm excited. So I always start with this question. It's a classic Steve Trang one. How'd you guys get into real estate?
Ooh. Faizul, you go first on that one now.
All right, sure. So it was 2020, the middle of 2020. I was just about to leave for my trip to Thailand, and Munif, who's my cousin, bought this free seminar for Legacy. And so he's like, dude, I got this thing. I went there, and I got this $500 ticket for like a 2-day seminar.
Right.
I can bring a friend. Would you come along? So we went.
Nice.
And then we got sold on a combined package of like $45,000.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So that's literally how we actually got into real estate. So right after I came back from Thailand, I think a week after that, we went to that seminar and we attended the first meetings and stuff. It was a lot of like fluff and a lot of like theory, like just like college, right? You don't really learn the implementation of anything, really. It's just theory. But that's literally how I got started. And just because of how high of an entry cost it was, I was determined to make it work. So I just took action. I was still working my W-2 back then. And that's really it.
Gotcha. But like okay, so there's a little bit more to that. So then you did a program where like it was just theory and it didn't like work. But then I knew you from joining Sub 2. So like what happened? I know Munif's story a bit. Is yours similar? Like, did you keep buying programs or did you eventually?
No, it was that program, and it was the program had different classes. So we kept going, and they were like, don't do wholesaling, right? You can do lease option and creative financing. And we took all these classes and we're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. How are we going to make money? And so I went on YouTube and I started watching some videos and I stumbled upon wholesaling and basically putting pieces together. I started pulling lists, skip tracing them, using roar to text, and I started getting traction, right? I got a bunch of leads and I got on calls, and I think on my second or third call, I got a deal. Nice. I still had the house. So I got the deal for $40,000. I bought it for $40,000. I put $5,000 in it, and it appraised for $125,000.
Damn.
And I cashed out, and I still kept that property. The property still makes me $300 net in cash.
Nice. Where is it?
Huh?
Where is it?
It's in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
So I was like, this is the easiest money I've ever made, and I'm making more money still.
Right.
So I did that a bunch of times. I got like a couple of VAs. I was not really working. Like I still had a job, so I was putting 40 hours a week, and I kept doing the same thing, and I kept buying properties. The ones that I really didn't want, I just wholesale.
Right.
I literally just bought properties, put a little bit of money, and did cash out refis.
Nice.
So I did that for a few years. I wholesaled maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8 properties. Didn't make too much money, made like 80, 90 grand. But on my cash out refi, I made close to 170.
Nice.
And I picked up a bunch of units. So that gets me into really Sub 2. Really, actually did Steve Trang's program, great program for sales, but I still felt like I lacked a lot. Right? I was like, how do I really take the next step? What else is out there? And then I came across a few individuals who were in Steve's program, and they were part of Subto. And they were like, don't think, just enroll. So I enrolled in February of 2021. Love pace. Oh my God. Who doesn't love pace? Like, I was just like, wow, blown away. But I wasn't really taking action. Right. So for a few months, I just like stagnated and didn't do really anything. Showed up once in a while. Then I actually told Munif, dude, this guy's great. Munif's the one who actually joined later after me and started taking action. 2 months down the line, Munif's a different person. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, dude, I'm just showing up for Daily Dial. I'm like, you're blowing up on Sub too. He's like, just show up. He's like, dude, I've been doing this performance coach. I was like, really? He's like, dude, you should do it. So, he introduced me to my performance coach, Mike Mel.
He's also mine. Did you know that?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Munif introduced me to him too. Sam, you should hit him up also. He's literally the dopest.
For the record, I do not have a performance coach. It is why I am not as amazing as these two guys are.
It's just you don't know yet. You will.
Yeah. So I started, doing performance coach. Obviously it's like you don't see the results right away, but like every 2 months, you're just in a different place, really. Right. So I joined Subto starting like about July, August time of last year. I started really going hard, like really showing up, really connecting with the key people. Right. I'll just like be in the background. I just be like, okay, this guy. So start connecting, start doing some JVs. Like I started closing deals. And I did some JVs, closed a few deals for different people. And then what happened was I told a few groups, I was like, listen, I want to create my forever team. Right. But this is just dating. And then one group, my current group of, my partners now in our company, it's Gabriel and Ari, young kids, 2021, right? But then they saw my vision. I'm actually a visionary, but I have an integrator background.
Oh, okay.
I'm an engineer. So we formed a company, and I was like, hey, you know what? We'll focus on dispositions. Everybody needs dispositions. I'm like, and we're going to focus on hedge funds. So while we were building our acquisition side of stuff, we started making inroads with the hedge funds. We created really great relationships, right? It was me. I was making those relations. Those guys were we started creating structure, processes, systems, right? And with that, we got good traction and we started making good money, right? And we always had food because everyone was using.
How long ago was this? Where are we in timeline right now?
So we're in November of last year.
Damn. Nice.
So I had 2 VAs. I hired a third one. I brought them in, right? I kind of like fronted all of the money because I had W-2. So we're now really me, my 2 partners, and 3 VAs, right? So it's like 6 people. Soon we started working with a few other people, and we had so much lead flow and stuff. We had to bring in 2 closers. So, and now where we are with, we're doing dispositions for a lot of people, but on our acquisition side, we're really scaling as well. We have 2 closers. We have a transaction coordinator. We're probably hiring another 3 or 4 VAs in the next 2 months. And we have really, really big goals.
I love that.
At the end of the year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wait, how did you learn about the disposition side? That's very Kegley model, it sounds like.
So I really looked at everything, right? I was like, where does money exit out of? Money exits out of disposition. Where's the biggest money exit out of? Like, where does the big money exit out of? Hedge funds. So it's just like really the play to really just saw the opportunity. Everybody's doing acquisitions. You can't swim with the crowd and find gold, right? You just got to do something different.
Right.
It is tough. Disposition is tough. Disposition is in a lot of ways harder than acquisitions.
It's a bit different.
Right. Especially working with funds, making those inroads, it's difficult. But that side of the business is always, for me, secondary, like working with, doing dispositions for others. It was just a way for me to bridge between the next chapter of our company, which is just doing 7 figures in acquisitions by the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
Per month.
Damn, per month? 7 figures per month?
Yes.
Jesus. Did you notice that Jonah was like, "Oh, that's a great wait per month per month."
We have. I was actually doing some work, just looking because like how Mike Mill makes you do stuff. We have about, I think, $500,000 in escrow right now between our deals and deals from our partners.
Well, that's dope as hell. I fucking love to hear that. Sam, can you follow that up? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hell no.
No, I'm just gonna start with, what's your story, bro? I love that story, Faizul. That's amazing. I enjoy it. How did you get into real estate, Sam?
Yeah. So this is all predicated on a few things. One, I graduated college last year. So I just got my master's last year, and from high school.
25? 26?
I just turned 26. I just had my birthday last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, last week. So from high school to college, right, all the way through, I was involved in 2 things: public service, and that was on the enforcement side, and then politics. It was just kind of back and forth between the 2. And if you guys know this, Faizul knows this, I love public speaking. I love getting on stage, and I love really kind of speaking in that format. And it comes from the marriage of those 2, especially on the political side. But working for the government in any capacity sucks.
Right.
It freaking sucks. You were in the Peace Corps, right? So you understand an element of the righteousness and the good that comes from serving, but it comes at a cost, and that cost is usually your own personal success.
Right.
And as I was going and I was getting an MBA, and then I quickly realized at the time, and I was getting on with a federal agency, I was like, I'm going above and beyond to go get a master's degree, to go graduate with highest honors, to do all this kind of stuff. And my entry pay would be like $50,000, and I'd be working like 60 hours a week. And I was like, God dang, that doesn't sound fantastic. It does not sound fantastic at all.
Right.
So I was like, I always knew that in the end, I wanted to get into something entrepreneurial. Like, I wanted to go and have a mansion. I wanted to go and become a multi-millionaire, but it was down the road. And what ended up happening is that I decided to not push it down the road. And I was like, let me look into this now. And I just did a little bit of research, and I'm like, oh, hey, look, like 99.9% of the world's millionaires become millionaires by real estate. And I'm like, real estate sounds dope. All right, let's get into it. And what I did is, after I graduated last year, I went through summer break, right? And that 2-3 month time span, I just went to YouTube University. And in YouTube University, I was like, okay, great, real estate. Then I'm like, I learned the Burr method. Shout out to Graham Stephan, who was the first real estate oriented guy I ever came across when he was still doing real estate. Now he's doing other things. But I was like, great, this method's awesome. I learned about the Burr, and I was like, this is phenomenal. And then I quickly realized, wait a minute, the Burr is going to take me 10, 15 years to be able to effectively do, because it's not scalable. And I was like, all right, I need something different. And then I don't know how, but I came across the term wholesaling. I was like, wholesaling, okay. You don't need any money, right? You don't need to have a ton of time. And I'm like, I have all the time in the world because I just graduated college. I have no money because I'm broke as a joke because I just graduated college. And I'm like, great, this sounds like it's for me. And I started looking into wholesaling, and I met some people, and they said, hey, go watch this thing on Mondays. It's a free stream. It's called Wholesale Hotline. And in these three guys, Brent, Jamil, this dude named Pace, they'll teach you how to wholesale. My mind was blown watching Wholesale Hotline. I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, holy crap, like this is it. This is the secret sauce. They're telling us everything step by step by step, right? And I was blown away.
Right.
And as I was doing this, I was learning wholesaling over last summer. I was like, great, this is all phenomenal. And then out of nowhere, I don't know how, Jamil's people from Astro, they reach out to me and they try to recruit me, and I almost take the bait on it. And I'm like, this sounds great. The problem is I literally do not have the money. Literally do not have the money at the time.
Right.
And Jamil's program, Astro, is phenomenal. For everyone watching, Astro is amazing. But at the time, I didn't have the money for it at all. So I had to take another month, and I'm just like saving up some money, and researching and learning. And this guy who I respected heavily, he cold called every single day live for like 2 hours a day. I'm like, this dude's legit. He's done a few deals. He knows what he's doing. He's going to be my mentor. And he said, you watch Wholesale Hotline, you know Pace, right? And I'm like, yeah, Pace. He's the guy with the peace sign hat, right? And he was like, yeah, he has a mentorship. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. And he's like, yeah, it's called Subto. And he told me this. And for me, treating him as a mentor, as an authority, he's like, if I was going to put money on any program at all in real estate, it would be Subto. And then at the time I had enough money. I was like, actually, I didn't have the money. I totally didn't. I had to get in on the payment plan. I had to put it on some credit cards. I literally had nothing. And I'm like, okay, if I don't get a deal in the first 3 months, like I'm out and I'm bankrupt, right? I'm going to be even more broke. And so after that summer, I link up with a guy named Dean Fago. He's one of the recruiters for Subto. Dean stays on the phone with me for about 6 plus hours over the span of 2 days, because I wasn't committing. Because he knew, like, as a closer, right? These recruiters, what are they? They're closers. They understand when someone's at the edge and they're about to convert.
Right.
And here's the problem. I kept Dean on the phone for the first day for like 3-4 hours, and I didn't convert. So he's on the phone with me the next day, and he was, I remember this. I knew he was pissed off at me because he was at the grocery store shopping, like on the phone with me, trying to get me to freaking just like pay the bill and get in.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Dean being as persistent as he was, I would never have joined when I did. And, things could have just been totally different. So real quick, if you ever see this, Dean, you're amazing, man. You're a badass closer. I would hire you a million times over.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I want to ask about this, because you interviewed me literally yesterday, and I guess, did we lose Faizul? I don't know what happened to Faizul there. Well, I guess it'll be for you and me right now.
He's done. He's tired of our shit.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to you, Faizul, where you just...
Oh, it's I'm on top of another computer, and it might be a magnetic thing that happened.
Okay.
I'm seeing my setup.
Well, Faizul's dealing with like a science project at his house. But, Sam, so what I wanted to talk to you about real quick, because I did something similar. You interviewed me yesterday where I was like, screw it, I'm going to put it on credit cards. I did it like it was like a 0% credit card. It was just like, screw it, we're doing it. We're doing the payment plan. I don't have money, but we're going all in. Just like, what's your opinion on like the caliber? Because I think there's like a different caliber, or something switches once you're willing to do that. That like, I mean, okay, maybe the issue is I don't know the people who didn't become successful when they did that. They might be like bankrupt or something. But what do you think switches in somebody's mind? Like, what switched for you once you committed like that?
So I love that you asked that. And for anyone that watched yesterday, when Jonah told me that he put his entry fee on credit cards, I explicitly said this is not a good idea. And here we are the next day exposing the fact that I did the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And Faizul, I mean, you paid a ton of money for that program too. So I want your opinion on this as well. Like, what changes once you're willing to commit that amount of money? Is it something beforehand? Is it once you commit the money? I'll start with you, Sam, and then I want your opinion too.
Yeah, I actually want to. I love this. I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. I actually want to highlight something that Dean, my recruiter for Subto, he actually harped on with me, and he was telling me the story. And so don't go look this up because it's probably not 100% accurate. And if you do and it's wrong, just know that I may be filling in some gaps. Just explicitly saying that. Have you guys ever heard of the phrase "burn the ships" or "burn the boats"?
I have.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's so freaking powerful. And there's a million different iterations of this story. But in short, all we know is that there was a conquistador who traveled from somewhere in Europe. Maybe it was Portugal, maybe it was Spain. I don't know where. From there down to somewhere in South America. They crossed the Atlantic Ocean and they had a fleet with them. And because the Atlantic Ocean is one of the craziest oceans on Earth and it is so rigorous, a lot of those ships got lost. By the time that they got there, those maybe only a few ships left, right? Maybe only a few of the fleet left. Maybe it was 500 ships and only 2-3 made it. I don't know, but just a very few amount. And their goal was to enter this uncharted land and to conquer it. And they were vastly outnumbered. They were vastly outarmed. And the commander, the man who was leading this force, he knew that if they had an avenue for retreat, his men would retreat. And it would be a failure. So he ordered them and he looked around and then all these people, they're young. They're, young guys. They'd probably be 17, 18, 19 years old, right? Young men who are being sent to war. And he tells them, he knows that they're afraid. He knows that they're terrified. They're looking death in the face. And he tells them to burn the ships. He tells them to burn the boats. They do that. Now they have no avenue for retreat at all. And they're left with one choice. And that is, they're left with two choices. It's die or it is fight and conquer. And what he did is he eliminated that choice of retreat. He eliminated losing as an option. They rose to the occasion. They fought. They won. They conquered. And Dean went out of his way to tell me this story. And that at that point, I was
Dean
like,
told you that story? Like in Subto, when he was recruiting you for Subto, he was telling you that story?
He told me that story.
That's hilarious.
Like 6 hours in on the phone.
No, really?
I gotta close this guy. And he knew that I was in public service. He knew that I was in enforcement. And he knew something that was warrior oriented would probably hit me hard. And he used it against me. By the end of it, I was just like, here's my card. Take it. So all of that to say, to your question, now I'm all in. I've burned the ships. I have absolutely burned the ships. And I was so mentally on this that I actually went and changed some of like my email passwords to like burn the ships. Like one.
Really? Dang.
I did that. Nice. I was full send on this.
Nice.
And what it did though, is it gave me no opportunity for retreat.
Right.
I knew that I could go back to my other, field of work and I could kill it. I can go and work in enforcement. I can go and work in politics. And those doors were open, but I mentally closed them. There was no retreat. There was no looking back. And it primed me to be in a state of mind where there was no other option. And I don't know how to lose. My two options are win or lose. And I don't know how to lose. So it's only going one way.
Oh, I love that.
So that was it for me. I think there's an amazing power to it. Here's the thing. I think that a lot of times people go all in. And I wonder if they're not mentally all in at the same time.
Yeah.
And like you said, the people who maybe they weren't successful, you don't know who they are. I wonder if they went financially all in, but they weren't mentally all in. Maybe they were holding back to what else they can do. Maybe I can go back to my job being a manager at Target. Maybe I can go do this. Right. Maybe I can go be a teacher. Maybe I can go be a cop. Whatever it is, they were holding on to an open door. I think the key to going all in is shutting everything behind you.
I think it's also just we got incredibly lucky, right? I mean, Subto is an insanely valuable program. I mean, Faizul, you literally said you spent $45K on a kind of whack program. Like if you like just awful program, it sounds like if that had happened, then it's like, oh crap. Like now I'm screwed, right? So I think it's that, like, I mean, I definitely feel you on the sense that like there's like that, like you also have to know yourself. I've like discovered it's like, who are you, right? Like how well do you know yourself? Are you that type of person who will make things work, right, and go all in? But I don't know, Faizul, what do you think of all this?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'd say that good closers are the easiest closes, right?
Say that again. Good closers are the easiest closes.
Yes.
That's
He's
interesting.
exposing me really hard right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why? That's an
I mean,
interesting concept.
look, I think Sam's a phenomenal closer. He got closed. Munif and I are decent closers. We got closed. You know what I mean? So I think it has to do with the fact that closers are risk takers. Usually, closers are entrepreneurial. There you go. But man, for me, it's the same. But it's like, for me, it's like, if I put something out in the world, I'm just gonna make it happen, right? I joined that mentorship. I told people, I'm like, that 45K that I sunk, right? I was like, I'm gonna make something happen out of this. Like, I literally spend a lot of at that point in time, it was half of what my savings were. Like, I up until 2 weeks ago, I had a 6-figure job, which I just quit.
You quit 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
When we were in Phoenix too.
I think that's so interesting. Like, damn, I want to stay on this topic, but I also want to ask, like, because I love the fact that we're like, okay, we're boosting from like to like seven figures a month, and like now I'm quitting my job because I already know you're doing like insanely dope already. Like, it's like, what do you think took you so long to quit your job?
Honestly, man, a lot of stuff. No one in my family is an entrepreneur. I
Gotcha.
had nothing to model after. I had no one to like make a decision like that I could go up to, like, how was it for you? Like, how do you do it? Right? I'm literally the pioneer really in my family who's doing what I'm doing. And it's generations. Like, I've had people do it, like my uncles and stuff, but they've not really been good at it.
Gotcha.
Really. So I haven't had like a positive, close role model. And everybody in my family earns decent money doing jobs in tech, right? That's what I was doing. So for me, I personally think I'm an aggressive risk taker, but I'm also always hedging my bets in different places. So there's like safeguards. Like, I will take aggressive chances. Like, I will spend a lot of money on stuff that I need to, that might give me high reward, but like, I will hedge my bets. So no matter what, I'm somehow protected.
Right.
And like, that's why I kind of like really took it upon myself to push my team to take big risks. But like, so far it's worked out. So, but it's tough, man. It's really tough. Like, I had a very cushy life, right? If I didn't work, if I didn't do real estate, I still would have eaten anything I wanted to eat, really.
Right.
So I don't know if it's easier or more difficult. From my perspective, it was tough to give that up and do this full time. But what I felt throughout was the burn of the chain, right? The chain, and the chain of debut too. Like, salary,
chains.
Like, like, salary is
it's a
drug.
Security blanket.
Yeah, listen, salary is a drug that keeps you away from your dreams.
Damn, who said that? I feel like I read that on Instagram post.
And
Faizul said that.
No, I pick up stuff. I never know, but like, some stuff just really connects. This is one of those things.
I swear I heard that on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
So I want to say this because Faizul's a guy. Faizul and I, we're partners now, and we're doing a lot of amazing things together. And I get to see how he works and how he operates. And there's so much about us. I think all three of us are extreme risk takers. I think if you put the average American to us and they hear about what we've done, when we did the things that we did, they're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what is broken in your head? Well, the reality is nothing's broken. It's just that we were wired a certain way. And then for Faizul and for me, even coming from what I learned in school and what I did in my previous industry, I had to rewire. I understood that in order to be successful in this game, I had to rewire a lot of things that I was taught. And one thing I got to say I love about Faizul is that this man is extremely analytical. Okay, so I'm going to be the first person to say publicly on this podcast that like I am not a smart guy. I'm not smart at all in any way, shape,
That's
or
just
form.
not true. That's like what Pace does. It's like, dude, you're smart, dude. I can tell.
I'm okay. I'm okay. But when it comes down to things that me and Faizul are doing, a lot of these problems that we're running into are problems that I've never encountered. I'm coming up on 6 months into real estate, into subto, into the world of sales, entrepreneurialism. This is all a new ballgame to me. So I look at him as someone who's ahead of me. I look at him as a big brother, as a mentor even. And one thing that I noticed with him is that, you know, we always talk about visionaries who are ultimate risk takers and they go and they fail forward always and this, that, and the other. And I love that. I freaking love it. Now, I also love integrators who can make everything in the world happen, but maybe sometimes they lack the vision that keeps them going forward, right? With Faizul, I feel like Faizul's one of the deadliest people in this game, in this space. And that's why I'm like very proud that I'm his partner. Is everyone's going to very soon this year understand who Faizul is. And it's because I'm going to be singing his praises from the top of roofs. But one thing that he does is, when we work together, I'm like, hey, these are our problems that we have right now. He's like, okay, good. Let's go figure these problems out. Within a day, he's got all the answers. And I'm like, great. Like, now should we start moving forward a little bit? He's like, no, we got all the answers. Double down, full send.
I love that.
And he analyzes, right? He counts all his pieces, or as many as he needs, but he never wastes a second. Once he has enough to take action on, he is 110% on it. And I feel like that is having that mentality, that mindset is the key to making millions in this game. If you can unlock that, if you can find that perfect balance of being a visionary who understands systems, who understands being analytical, but also like letting that visionary side of you drive action forward, I think you're unstoppable. It's actually the number one thing that I'm learning from him right now. Outside of business, outside of buying properties, outside of making money, it's that.
You guys have thrown so much at me that I could talk about right now. It's insane. But I also realized I forgot to ask, like, what is your partnership? What's your guys' story together?
We didn't even talk about it at all.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it at all. I need to include that in. Like, okay, so how are you guys partners? Like, what are you guys doing? What's the story with you two? Then I'm going to go back to there's just so much mindset stuff there that is amazing. But I also, the people need to know how you guys connected, what you guys are doing, and all that type of stuff.
Listen, I'm going to let Sam tell you the whole story. But Sam, I call him the master manifester.
I like that. Bro, that's your Instagram handle.
Our partnership, our friendship, everything. Really. And I like, he's like truly a brother. Right, for me, to me, he's like a brother, and so I'm just super grateful for this guy. Right, he came into my life, and we're about to do some really, really big things together. But it was all him, really. You know, he tell him, Sam.
Yeah. So,
Wait, before you start, I'm just gonna throw it out there that would be a dope Instagram handle, the Master Manifester. That would be a sick nickname. Like, I'm just saying. Keep on to that. Write that down.
I might. Yeah, that actually might be it. Might have to change it.
Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good, man. So here's the thing. It's funny because he says that I'm good at manifesting. Faizul knows this. Faizul knows that I now understand manifestation, but for the longest time, I'm like, you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, I don't know. It's just hippie stuff that I don't understand. It doesn't register in my brain. Right. But a few months ago, me and Munif are close, right? We're very, very close. I met Munif well before I met Faizul. And I linked up with Munif. I'm with Team Ninja, this, that, and the other. And we're going on Twitch, all this kind of great stuff. And I start realizing that, like, hey, I've learned all that I need to learn. I'm still learning, but I've learned enough to start taking stupid action. And I've been taking stupid action at this point. But I'm like, it's the results. Like, full disclosure, I am coming up on 6 months and I've gotten just shy of 30 deals.
Amazing.
And
that's insanely good.
Thank you. But the reality of that is that it was by spreading myself extremely thin over an extended period of time, and it wasn't as calculated as I knew I needed to be. So I was like, okay, I want to go take over the world. I want to become a billionaire, and I need someone to help me do it. I can't do this on my own. And I was very close with Munif. He's a brother to me as well. And I was like, Munif's great, but it just, I don't think it would work. I don't think the synergy was quite there. And then I was like, I need someone who's low key, who is basically just an extremely high performer who can carry my weight where I don't shine. And then I sat there and I thought,
carry your weight where you don't shine. Is that what does that
mean?
Yeah.
So there's elements, right? So I'm a great speaker. I'm a great closer. I can get people to trust me to do this, that, and the other. I love that. If you ask me, the reality of building a business is that it's based on systems and processes and automations. If you told me to go build that out, it would take me a year. And then it would suck. It would take me a year and it would suck. I can go be the CEO and get on stage and give speeches and wow my community and wow my crowd and lead my team. But that little stuff, the task-oriented things, hell no, I'm the worst person on earth for it. And I knew I needed someone who was an extremely high performer who understood these things at a high level. It didn't have to be their bread and butter, but they just had to be better at it than me, and a lot better. So Faizul was on my radar. I actually, when I first heard of Faizul, I heard about Faizul because Pace kept talking about this dude on Q&As, and he was like, Faizul this, Faizul that, and he's like, he's got the best hair in sub 2, he's the best looking guy in sub 2, and I'm like, who the fuck is Faizul? And I remember coming across this guy's Instagram once, and I was like, dude, this guy's Instagram is low key, it's minimal, and he's mysterious. I'm like, that he looks like a cool dude. And then I eventually find out he's Munif's cousin. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay. I was gauging through I knew nothing about Faiz. I didn't know anything about what he was doing. I just knew that he was killing it on Dispo, and that was effectively it. And I was like, wow, this guy, I love his approach. I love that he's a mysterious assassin type. I have no idea what numbers he's doing. I bet they're high. They're definitely higher than me. So I'm like, you know what? I want to work with this dude. Faizul ends up coming on with Team Ninja, which is Munif's company. And I got to work with him a little bit through Ninja, just a tiny bit. And I was like, dude, this guy crushes. He's crushing for Team Ninja. And then I'm like, God, I want to work with him. I made up my mind. I want to work with him. So one night I text Faizul, and I, by the way, have never actually directly spoken at this point, outside of like maybe a Facebook comment of me putting like fire emojis underneath one of his posts or something. No actual meaningful conversation. I text Faizul. So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Faisul's going to be my business partner. Made up my mind. I text Ralph Ospina. He's a phenomenal guy in sub 2. He's a very close friend of mine. I text him that same night. Faizul is going to be my best friend. He just doesn't know it yet. He's going to help me take over the world.
I like it.
The next morning, like the next day, somewhere around the next day, I text Faizul. I get his number. I get it from Munif, and I'm like, and I text him. I'm like, hey, this is Sam Singh from Ninja from sub 2. Like, can we talk? And then I talk his ear off for an hour. And I talk his ear off for an hour. I come to him with this ridiculous business idea, and I was just like, but more than that, I come to him with my energy, the energy that I always lead with, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna take over the fucking world. I don't know how. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I have some ideas, but I'm gonna do it, and I need someone to do it with. And I was like, that's gonna be you. And then by the end of it, I don't think I even asked you if you were in or not.
I just like we're gonna be best friends. We're gonna be partners, and we're gonna be billionaires.
I didn't let you answer. It wasn't even a question. I was just like, you're my new best friend. You're my business partner. And then
just like, yeah. And here's what I'm gonna say. Anyone that knows me, the people that are really close to me, you can ask Munif, and you can ask Sam now. I'm actually consider myself one of my ultimate skill sets, superpowers, is to be able to tell a person's personality and their true intentions. And I can tell if they're for real or if they're for fraud or, the stuff. It's just like I've intuition. I've just connected to it. And, when I spoke to Sam, I just knew. Right, like I will like listen to people speak, and Sam will, there's so many stories, right, like this. that, you know, like I'd be like, yeah, there's something up there. You know,
And he's never wrong, by the way. I will say that he's never wrong.
You can ask Manif and Sam, anybody else in my family, my close friends. And I just knew, I was like, this is the guy. And I've over the years, I've learned to listen to that intuition. And so when he told me, I didn't really take it lightly. I was like, yo, this feels right. Let's see. And, you know, like I just like kept noticing him, how he leads, like how he talks to people, how he treats people, like his work ethic, and his strong sense of service, loyalty, all this kind of like stood out to me. And I was like, this guy's for real though, right? A lot of people will fake it, right? Fake it, you know him from close, and it's all just a facade. But with him, it's all real. That's just who he is.
I love this. I mean, this was something you just answered it, and it's so curious to me because I don't have a business partner, and y'all are making me jealous. Everyone who has a business partner, I'm like, damn, everyone's like 10xing because of that, which is making me want a business partner a bit. But because like business partners is so much like, I feel like it's also like love and like dating, and it's just like, man, like I don't know, like. It's almost like asking, like, how do you know when you're in love? Like, how do you know when you find true love? I'm starting to realize it's the same of being like, how do you know who's supposed to be your business partner, right? Like, how do you find, like, for me, it's a visionary. How do you find an integrator that like would be an amazing business partner for you? Faisal, you were answering that as in like, you just kind of know. Is there anything more to it than that? Or is it literally just like listening and like hearing and like being like, you're a good person, you work the same way I do, we have the same values? Like, what do you think?
There's absolutely more to it, right? Sam alluded to this, like the skill sets, his natural God-given abilities are something that I'm not comfortable doing. I don't want to do it because it doesn't like really light a fire. Like for me to spend hours talking to human beings probably would not make me happy,
right?
Because I am usually a really matter of the fact kind of guy. So I just like I run business, like just business, move the fuck on so I can do the next thing. Sorry. So I like that, but like you need that for say certain things, like say raising money, or that's a big part, right? What we're doing together, a big part of it is actually raising money, having those conversations, right? For me, I would do it and I'm good, but I'd get burned out.
Right.
So it was definitely that. And it's having that co-vision, like singular vision, like when we speak, him and I see the same things. Right. There isn't like, hey, and it's never like with ego. We don't have ego, right? And we always speak that, dude, this is just business, right? So if I call you out, it's based on the business stuff. If I need you to tell me if I'm making a mistake, if I'm overstepping a boundary or all that stuff, clear lines of communication is super, super important.
So
okay.
Let me.
What do you mean? Sorry, Sam. I'm going to interrupt you. What do you mean? What do you mean? What did you just say? Like you guys see things the same, or you guys say things the same? You said something like that. Like when you guys say something, you guys are in step. Like what does that mean?
Okay, so what I mean is, so say having a vision is like, oh, I'm going to get there, right? Right. Everybody agrees, right? That's I'm going to get there, right? But getting the path and seeing the milestones and what challenges you will face at what level, what part of your journey to that is very important, right? Like we're talking about scaling right now, our business, and we're like, okay, income's going to drive, the first thing that's going to drive is not money in our pocket, but staff. Right. And then this and that. So that's just the stuff. And like, say if him and I did not have similar vision, you'd be like, no, I want the money in my pocket.
I get it. You have same goals. I see what you're saying.
Right.
I got you.
Well, I would say this, right? And it's something more grand that I want to tie into in a minute. But the reality is, from a practical sense, um, the, anyone that's I held this Zoom this past Sunday, and I taught newbies a lot of good stuff. Faisal was there, and Faisal knows that my two core mantras in life, and they've held true in the entrepreneurial space, are clarity first. It's always clarity, and then once you have that clarity, it's laser focus. Those are my two main things. So Jonah, I mean, like, you follow me on Instagram, and you'll eventually see me every couple of weeks. I'm just going to post that. I'm just going to post clarity and laser focus. And for anyone that's watching, if you ever see me do that, just know that I'm probably in like an assessment phase, and I'm priming and I'm priming and I'm priming. But clarity, it's the most important thing. It's so critical. And when I spoke to Faisal for the first time, this is why I knew this was going to be a good fit before I even met him. But I knew, for whatever reason, my gut was telling me that he operates with ultimate clarity. Mm-hmm. And in subto, in the world of entrepreneurialism, very few people operate with clarity. They think they know what they want, but then they're doing X, Y, and Z that does not give them a straight path there. For me, it's about knowing, and this is going to be a little bit more of an abstract topic, but I look at my destiny. I feel, and it's very abstract to talk about your destiny because no one really knows what it looks like. For me, I feel that I see it in 4K HD. It's crystal clear. It's right in front of me. And my whole mission in life is, how do I sprint a straight line to it without falling for these side routes? Right. And when I was talking to Faisal for the first few times, just through the phone, in the conviction that he speaks in, I was like, this man has ultimate clarity. And I don't know, it was a wavelength, it's a vibration. I don't know what the hell it is, but it was, this is it. This man's going to be my partner. And he and I, by the way, we also, ironically, probably are both going to become billionaires at some point. This is going to happen. This is an element of our ironically, but this also trickles into our business approach. The reality is, I have an MBA. I'm a visionary, but my MBA taught me how to run businesses, how to scale them, how to be an executive who understands that. Faisal has built businesses. He's had the applied, experience of doing it. So when we have these conversations about what our goals are, we both approach these problems relatively similarly. It's breaking it down into a set of problems and addressing those problems in a coherent manner. But that's like a practical answer. The reality is, I think he and I are on the same trajectory. I think he and I approach life very similarly. But the caveat to that is, where I don't shine, he thrives. Where maybe he doesn't want to go get on stage and talk to 10,000 people, but it's 2022. Social media presence, having visibility, right? Getting in front of as many eyeballs as possible. It's the currency of the realm now. Yeah. So he may not want to do it. That's not his forte. It is mine. And it's having that duality. It's so important. Yeah. I don't have it with anyone else. I've never had anything close with anyone else. So to your point a little bit earlier, it's like, when do you know? Because you don't have a partner yet. I think an element, there might be a dating period. It might be finding out how you guys approach, but when you know, you will know. Right. My thing with Faisal is that I knew it before I ever met him. That's why I texted. I was like, I texted my friend. I'm like, hey, he's going to be my best friend. He just doesn't know it yet.
It's interesting how that works. I don't have a business partner, but I kind of know what you guys mean. This recently happened. Daniel Quijano, you guys both know him. You guys both like him. When he came on the podcast, it's like episode 4. And like, I remember just being like, dude, this, you might have a little bit of this too, Sam, where like, I was like, dude, this guy is like, he's doing what I'm trying to do, but like, he's even better at it. Like, I recognize that he's like ridiculously good at this, talking about mindset stuff. I don't know if you guys know this. He literally wrote a book on it. I was like, dude, what do you mean you wrote a book on it? Like, you didn't tell anyone? But he was sick, so he wasn't going to come on. But like, I'm like, dude, I feel like you'd be an amazing like co-host to this podcast, because one of the things is I'm planning on doing this forever. I can't always be here every single Thursday at 5 p.m. PST for the rest of my life, right? Like, I know I'm going to need some sort of co-host at some point, but I know what you guys mean in the sense, like, you just kind of feel it. There's like a point where it's like, it's not all logical. Like, there's obviously the logical, we work really well together. We complement each other's faults. And then there's also like a little special something, which I know you're talking about, which is what you guys are talking about. Of like when you guys started talking and started doing stuff, like I get that. What did the dating process look like for you guys? Because I know it wasn't just that phone call and then it's like, all right, LLC, right? Or was it? I don't know.
No, it wasn't. I actually do want to highlight this. There's an element that we kind of skipped over, and that's that early phase where we're feeling each other out. And you look for, and I know Faizul did this with me, and I know that I did this with him. I actually didn't intentionally do it, but I noticed this was happening. I noticed that Faizul would go out of his way when he didn't ever have to put me first. To put like making sure that I benefit the way that I need to. The reality is this: when Faizul met me, he's already crushing the game. He's making tons of money. He owns properties. He's a genius. He's got businesses. I basically have nothing. I'm just a guy who joined Subto, and I've been loud ever since. The reality is he didn't need to go out of his way to do what he did for me. But in the first early stages, I kept noticing there was just things that he was doing where he could go be making $1 million doing something else. Why is he helping me? And the reality is I noticed that he was putting me first a lot of the times. And my response to that, my natural kind of inclination, is to obsess over how I can bring value to him. So before I make myself a billion, like my thing is this: before I am ever allowed to become a billionaire, Faizul has to become a billionaire. And then I've noticed that there's reciprocity there. And that's an important part of, I think an extremely important part of a partnership. So for you, when you're looking for these people, it's like, who's going to put you first? Can you find a partner who does put you first? And if you do,
what does that mean practically? Like,
so
I know,
practically, right.
I understand like metaphorically, but practically,
right. Look at things, right? Let's just say we have a deal. We have a deal where, so I'm a closer. Right. By the time Faizul met me, I've already made a name for myself as one of the better closers in Subto. I'm closing a ton of deals. And then one of the first things I do is I bring him a deal. It was a fat freaking deal that Faizul crushed for me. And here's the thing. Faizul, on that deal, it was a pain in the butt. Right, Faizul? It was a complicated deal near Dallas. It was a mess. Mm-hmm. You guys talked about hedge funds. It was a hedge fund oriented deal, and hedge funds did what they do. His team had to go above and beyond to get it to the finish line and get everyone paid. I didn't know anything about what was happening, anything at all. Mm-hmm. And they could have been like, Sam, because of all the things that we did, we want to pay you less. And then I'd be like, dude, that makes sense. It makes sense completely. All I did was get on one phone call, close the seller, get a contract, and then you guys are like opening up a jar of worms to get this through the finish line. He went out of his way to handle the deal, make sure that I never knew about it so I didn't stress, and then still, as far as the split goes, treat me way more than fair. Way more than fair. In fact, I actually technically made more money on that deal than Faizul did, and he did all the freaking work. And here's the question: did he have to? The answer is hell no. But he did it because it's the way that he operates. So that's a little bit more of a practical answer. It's when they don't have a reason to put you first, are they still going to do it? He did that with me. And literally everything that I do, I like wake up and I'm like, okay, I've got my to-do list. I actually have it right. Faizul knows this. I'm huge on like writing stuff out. Everything on my to-do list, not everything, but most of these things are like my priority is making sure he becomes a billionaire. If I can do that, if I can prioritize that, I know that he's going to reciprocate. And this is what we know in Subto. What Pace talks about with manifestation is know what you want, have that clarity. Part 2, find who's gonna help you get it. For me, it's this handsome guy right here. And then part 3 is be obsessed with bringing value to them.
Right.
And he did that with me inherently. I didn't notice he was doing it until much later. Now I look back and I'm like, holy crap. He was manifesting an amazing partnership. I talked too much. I'm sorry.
That was beautiful. That was a beautiful story. Like that's like I goddamn, like I was about to just be like encore right there. Like Jesus Christ. I don't even know. Faizul, do you got anything on that? Like I forgot my question. Like
I mean, he's right. It's like, you know, like
dating process. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like when you're like you know, personally from my perspective, for me, it's since I'm not really out there, right? Everybody knows I'm really not out there. for me, I provide value to the people that are close to me, and I want to make sure that they have everything they need to be as successful as they possibly can be, right? So if you ask Manif and I talk every day for an hour, believe it or not, right? Almost every
Really?
day, if he's not traveling, I'm talking. Same thing with Sam. So for
You're
me,
also business partners with Munif, right?
we are not business partners. We are like our companies are partners
JV
in
partners.
certain division of their dispo we do.
Okay.
But
I
like
was just curious.
him and me and Sam are actual business partners that we
Gotcha.
with companies and
We're
stuff.
tied to the hip. That's what it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Sorry.
our companies are also partners. But
Okay.
like I actually own business with this man.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it just makes sense, man. You know, it's like if you provide value, it just comes back, right?
I love it.
It's just the rule of the land, really.
I love it. I loved all of it, and I 100% get it. But I also want a little bit of like literally I want to hear the next step. So you guys fall in love over the phone, right? Like Sam's like, look, like I don't care, like we're gonna be business partners. It's happening. You're the prettiest girl at the ball. I'm dancing with you. What's the next? Like, what is literally the next thing that happens? Like, it's like, okay, was it that deal? Was that the next thing? Was it like Sam's just like, I'm immediately bringing you deals, Faisal? Was that it? Like, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it started off that way. It's like, hey,
Okay.
dude, deal, and then
Gotcha.
me's like, we talk about our visions, right? I have the acquisitions and dispositions company. He has his acquisitions company that is his scaling, and we are learning a lot. And it's just like making sure that my man here has everything I have really on the acquisition side. And the partnership or the business that we actually have together is actually Airbnb. Right. So that's where we're like really starting off. We're going to scale it to the moon this year. We just really started not so long ago, and the level of traction that we have some really lofty goals.
Gotcha.
And
no, I mean, obviously, 7 figures a month is not you guys are. I know you guys are gonna hit it, and that's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to see you guys on stage with Pace and Jamil and all of that stuff. That's gonna be freaking awesome. I'm just excited to see the journey. I get to say in this podcast, like, yo, I interviewed him before they were cool, or before at least anyone else knew.
I get to say I actually interviewed you technically 24 hours before you interviewed me.
True. So like I guess fair enough.
So when Skorch the Fears becomes the #1 rated podcast on,
I'm coming for you, Steve Trang.
Exactly. Joe Rogan can get the hell out the way. Dude.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. I don't care if we're going into real estate.
An element of that, right, is this like, yeah, we're doing Airbnbs together. Faisal and I, we're buying a ton right now. We're doing arbitrage in a big way. We've got insane, like if people like ask us what these goals are, I'm not going to say them publicly because they're a little bit insane. They are insane.
I want to say them out loud. Why not?
Faisal, do you want to tell them? Let's just say the number.
What is it? 1,000? Come on, 1,000 Airbnbs this year. What are we doing?
I think we're gonna do somewhere in the 50+ range with arbitrage.
Yeah.
And
that's
this year
owned
by the end of this year.
That's dope.
And the reality is that when we tell people this, when we meet new people and we tell them this, it's funny because I've noticed that not a single person seems to not believe that we're going to do it. And it's because we have this amazing level of conviction because we put in the freaking work. We put in, the systems and the work, and we build these things up the right way. But it's not just Airbnbs. Faisal and I are constantly coming up with new ideas for new things, and we're still very laser focused on what we're doing. But I already know at least 2, 3, 4 other companies that Faisal and I are going to build together. We're starting with real estate. We're starting with Airbnbs together, but this is not going to be it. The reality is, Jonah, you know that I'm going on tour this year starting in May.
Right.
I'm going to be going across the country, a lot of speaking engagements, things like that. Faisal's going to be on stage with me every step of the way. And the reality of that, if you look at Pace and Jamil, they did the exact same thing. And just by doing that, intangible, unexpected results came up. The same thing's going to happen for us. So I think we're starting in real estate. I can't wait to see. We're going to crush real estate. we're gonna crush Airbnbs, we're gonna crush wholesaling, fix and flip, we're gonna crush all of that. I'm more excited about seeing what our lives look like 5 years from now, because I want to see us crushing something else. I can't wait for me and Faisal are going to have a TV show together at some point. I can almost freaking guarantee it.
He's
I'm just so excited to see it.
I'm right now gunning for Pace's top spot as the greatest manifester on earth. And Pace, I actually told him this in person in Phoenix, and he laughed at me. He was like, good luck. I'm going to do it. So the reality is this, man. It's that all these things that we talked about finding your partner. The reality of a lot of this stuff is we talked about them putting you first and you putting them first. If they don't, if you're not completely convinced that they have your best interests at heart every step of the way, if there's even like a fleeting ounce of doubt, they're not your partner. And people, they find partners for single ventures. You know, I need a partner for my e-com business or my real estate business or my fix and flips. I need my integrator for that. My thing with Faisal is that he's not my partner for Airbnbs. He's not my partner for real estate. He's my partner for pretty much so much that I'm going to do later in life that's going to transcend any of the stuff that we're doing right now. It's going to be amazing.
I love it, dude. Guys, like, damn, that was like a heartwarming story. Obviously, you guys are going to do it, and I love that I get to watch with some popcorn in my hand. That's basically what I am.
With us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be coming with you guys for sure as much as I can. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you guys out. I want to see it. That's going to be freaking incredible. I mean, honestly, guys, like what I've seen out of you two, and I throw Munif in there too, because I feel like you guys hang out all the time. Like what you three have like accomplished in such a short amount of time is insane. I don't think I know anyone who's done it as quickly as you guys. Like, I feel like, I mean, Sam, you've been in real estate for 6 months. Faisal, you've been in real estate longer.
Not yet.
Not yet even. I'm coming 6 months. I had done one deal. That was it. Faisal, you were in real estate, but when did you join Subto?
February of 2021.
Okay, but like that was also, and then Munif like got you kind of back in it. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, it's like June is when I really started doing the my performance, because believe it or not, guys, that stuff works. Just having that, like, that's like looking at these things and like giving you clarity, like Sam talks about clarity, and just like you realize, like, you know, every level has a new monster. Right. But that's just with business.
Right. Exactly. So, I'm just saying, I love watching all of you guys. It seems like you guys are coming out of nowhere as like almost not the comeback kids, but just like the rock stars that are going through it. You got to realize, like, Pace, year 2, he was like a Homevester franchise and was like, I mean, I don't know what he was doing, but I have a sense that you guys are like almost probably doing more. I'd be curious to see where in 2 years, because he's at 10 years now, right? Like, he's at that point where it's 10 years, and it's insane. I'm not going to say anything bad about Pace. I mean, he's like one of the greatest in the game right now. I think will be the greatest. I have no doubt he'll be bigger than Grant Cardone.
I completely agree. But here's the thing, right? So Jonah, you're freaking amazing. You've always been so complimentary of me and Faisal and Munif and what we do together. The reality is that yes, coming up on 6 months, yes, and that's an outlier. The reality is there's not anything special about me or what I do. The reality is I get to reap the benefits of the community that Pace Morby built.
True.
Right? The community, and I say this all the time. I know Pace, and I know Pace closely. Pace loves his community, but the number one thing I think that he's looking for in his community, it's not leaders. It's leaders who create more leaders.
Right.
And the only reason I've been here, and I feel like I'm coming out on a rocket ship and I'm kind of out of nowhere in the last like 5.5, 6 months, is the reality is I got tied in with the right people at the right time. Right. So I got in and I had Subto leaders basically take me under their wings. I had Munif Saza decided to bring me on Twitch, and he and I are very freaking close now. I had this man who is just crushing the world, and no one knows it because he's a mysterious assassin with nice hair. He decided
you do like you could kill someone, Faisal. Like, at nighttime, you like go Assassin's Creed type of.
Exactly.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I think it was.
Didn't mean to throw you off, Sam.
But no, you're good. And the reality is this: is that everything that I'm going to accomplish this year, even though they're huge goals, they're insane goals, and yeah, it may seem that like some of the things that we're going to do, yeah, it's going to beat out what Pace did in year 2. The reality is Pace was on his own then. Sure. I get to reap the benefits of the empire that Pace built. I get to stand on the shoulders of these giants.
Right.
So the reality is this: I owe all of this to Pace Morby and the community that he built, the leaders that he built. That's all it is. And I want the next guy. I want the guy who's joining right now to fly by me. And I want to help him do it as long as he does the same for the next.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If we do that, we create ripples in this world, we create greatness, and it's going to be unfathomable. The reality is this: you look at every other community, every other mentorship in real estate, none of them touch what Subto does.
Right.
There's no community that has leaders like Subto does.
Right.
That's why we're special. That's why I get to go and do what I get to do this year. It's because of stuff like Jonah, because of leaders like you, man.
I just ask questions on Q&A. I don't know why anyone thinks I'm cool. I've just been asking questions on Q&A for like 2 years. So people are like, we were talking about this yesterday. Like when people look back at the Zooms, they're like, man, who is this guy? He just keeps asking questions. But
I was gonna say, Jonah, man, like there's so much I learned just like from you and what you do and your business model and like how you are doing pretty much different to most people, just the realtor. And it's such a huge untapped market because people are like, I just want to go pull a list and do it at this, right? So what we're doing, like the third thing that I'm doing, right? Well, actually what we'll be doing, me and with Sam, is going to be a lot of the realtor reach out, but within my acquisition company, there's one thing in the pipeline, there's another thing, and then the third thing is going to be realtor reach out.
100%. If you guys ever need help, I know we had that one call, but like seriously, you both have my phone number. Anytime you guys need help with realtors, or if you got like honestly, if you guys want, I mean, my business, I'm starting to create a training on like how to respond to different things realtors say, how to deal with them. I'll put you guys on. You guys can see all my training. So you can tell me if it's dope or sucks also, which would help me.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll straight up tell you.
Yeah, exactly, which would be dope. Anything you guys need realtor-wise, for sure, I got you. Like I'm an open book for you guys whenever you want it, especially on that, just because that's my expertise. Okay, there's one question I really like asking. We're going over time, but I don't care. This is my podcast, so I get to do what I want. Unless one of you needs to go, just let me know.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna go overtime because it's my podcast. So, what I always like asking, one of my favorite questions to ask people is like, what if you were able to talk to yourself right when you started in either real estate or entrepreneurship? It kind of depends for each person. It sounds like it's more real estate for you, Sam, and then it might be entrepreneurship for you, Faisal. I don't like Faisal, I still don't know really who you are. Like I kind of do, but like we just been talking about mindset and stuff. But it sounds like you've also got other businesses going on. But I want to hear each of you talk about like whenever you were starting in entrepreneurship, whether that's real estate or not, what would you, if you could talk to yourself when you started, what would you say? What advice would you give knowing what you know now? And I'll start with you, Faisal, and then we'll go to Sam.
Oh, wow. Knowing what I know now, boy, this is a tough one. Okay, I'd say, okay. Create a team. Be a part of a team. Work with others. I did this real estate stuff by myself with VAs and stuff. It was lonely. I made money, everything I kept, but it was lonely. It was not fun. I did not have fun. I really didn't have fun. I had to really push myself to go out there and make that money. But being part of a group, right? Like making sure, because like then you get to care for other people. I think that's the thing. Like I had personally had younger people in my group, and they did not have streams of income. I'm like, that responsibility drove me. So but it was a lot of fun. We have so much fun in my company, like with the most amazing culture. So I think just being part of that, aligning yourself with people that complement your skill set, right? Have skills that you don't have. So it's going to be a process where you figure out what your skills are, what you're good at, and all that stuff. And being really open to like criticism and all that stuff is important, right? So I was just gonna say that that's one of the easiest ways is people that are as driven as you link up.
Love it.
The challenge becomes way easier.
Love it. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, anyone that's watching, you guys will always find out that Faizul gives way more detailed, specific answers than I do. I speak in generalities, and Faisul's like, none of that shit makes sense. I'm gonna tell you like really how to do things. So Faizul, thank you for that. If I had to go back, right? If I basically had to give myself a time machine and talk to me when I first got started, or if I was to talk to anyone who's just getting started, I think this was true with me. I felt my entire life that I was meant for greatness. I thought I was destined to conquer the freaking world. Got to a point where I was 25, graduating with my master's, and I was doing epic shit. I was doing absolutely epic shit in the stuff that I was doing.
Love it.
I can't really talk about it in a public forum, but Faizul knows this. Faizul was not doing epic shit. Yeah. Like I was like a certified badass.
It's funny that you
No, why can't you talk about it in public? I'm curious. I want to know what it is after this broadcast.
After I'll tell you. It's not for public consumption.
Okay, fair enough.
But I still felt that the greatness that I was destined for was off. It was far. It was at a distance. It was something down the road, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get there. And I think a lot of us operate, and we all know that we're destined for greatness. I think we all feel that we are destined for greatness. And if you don't, there may be something else that you need to address. But the reality is, I think most of us, especially young entrepreneurs, the young Sam Singhs of the world, walk around and they feel that there's something that they're meant to do. They have glory ahead of them. They've got a legend to build, but it's always far. It's always off in the ether. And if I had to go back and talk to me, I would literally slap myself in the face and say, you know, you're meant for greatness, and you know that you're destined to take over the world. Stop putting it off. Stop putting it off. You know, it's right in front of you. Man. And for me, it's like, I always felt, and I told this to Pace. If you guys remember, we did a tribute video over the holidays, and we gave it to Pace as a Merry Christmas gift. In that video, I told Pace that I always felt that my destiny, my entire life, I knew that it was amazing. I knew that I was going to go change the world, but it was blurry. It was fuzzy. I couldn't see it. Stepping into this space, becoming who I'm meant to be, I see it crystal clear now. Crystal freaking clear. And I feel that it's not a windy road there. It's a straight run. And now this is what I would tell myself. Know what your destiny is. See it crystal clear. And then chase it down every single day. And do not deviate.
I love that. I feel that so much, man. Honestly, like that like hit me where I was. That's 100% where I was when I was starting in this, which was 2 years ago, 25. Because like I told you this story when we were talking about how like I applied for jobs. I got like this job as like an insurance salesman. I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself if I take this job. Like this is not how my life is gonna end. So I just want to say like that you say things so you are an amazing speaker. Like my heart warms when I hear you say your answers. No offense, Faizul. Yours are like the practical answers, and then Sam's are like the damn. I'm into it. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna do that as a new.
Faizul will tell you how to do it. Sam's gonna motivate the hell out of you, but 5 minutes later you're gonna be like, the fuck does that mean? What the
yeah, like okay, like cool, Sam. What the hell does that mean? Like, no, I'm not saying no, but like it is an amazing answer, and I feel it too. Like I love it also. So I love that. So, all right, guys. I mean, though we are over. That one question is the one question I like asking. I would say, I mean, like, how can the people reach? So, first off, what do you guys need in your business right now? How can the people who've been watching this help you guys out? And how can they reach you? Let's start with how they can, let's start with how they can reach you. I'm going to put that in the chat and then tell them what they should actually send you, or like what they should do.
Yeah. So for one, dude, feel free to post this, right?
Yeah.
Do that for me. I don't know if the crowd can see, but my handle right here is how you can actually reach out to me on Instagram.
At Sam Singh.
Yes.
And I give my
it might be Master Manifester pretty soon. I don't know.
That's gonna be lit. I like that name.
I have to change it.
Good name.
So here's an element of what we're doing, right? You guys, we've already talked about how Faizul and I are going to buy over 50 Airbnbs this year when we're including arbitrage. We need we're in need of two things. Number one is deals. So if you've got fantastic deals, whether they're
what's a deal? What's a deal to you? Because that's vague and people don't know what that means.
So if you've got a property, a purchase and sale agreement, I'm going to keep it general because the reality is Faizul and I can make things work in unique ways. If you are a wholesaler, if you are an investor, if you are doing acquisitions, or even if you're helping dispo and a deal comes across your desk and it's in a appreciating market, that's a nice populated area, and it looks like it can be made into an Airbnb, we'll buy it. If it is a fix and flip that needs some work, we're going to get into that too. You can send us deals. I will help you underwrite your deals. If you've got problematic sellers that are close to converting, but you just can't get it done yet, or maybe you need some help structuring it and the deal looks like something that Sam would want to buy that could be made into an Airbnb, I will get on the phone with your seller. I will call them. I will close them, and I'll still pay you an assignment.
Are you guys buying cash and creative, or just creative?
Both.
Okay, so you're doing. Will the Airbnbs just be cash, or I mean, just creative, or also cash?
It can be both, honestly.
Okay.
We have so many ways we can buy properties.
Okay.
So, shout out to Pace Morgan for turning us into monsters.
Are you guys trying to invest in SAC and SF?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know why you guys aren't on my buyers list then.
Where the hell is this conversation? Sense, man, absolutely.
Like, at the end of the day, we're never going to buy crappy deals, guys. I'm sorry to say it, but we will buy good deals, 100%.
Love it. Cool.
And Jonah, the fact that we're not on your buyers list and the amount of time that you and I speak, I'm actually offended.
I didn't know you guys bought in this area. Are you guys nationwide? Like, where are you guys buying? Are you guys buying everywhere?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay, so that's what I did. I didn't know that. So like, I actually didn't even know what market you guys were in. I never asked that question either.
Yeah, for the longest time I was just in Pittsburgh, and then I was like, this is a limiting belief, and business is just the same doing wherever.
Right.
And I've actually never done a deal in my local market ever. So out of all the deals I've done, they've all been 100% virtual. So I am like low-key afraid to do a local deal. I'd get too involved. I'm like, no, it's easier to do it virtually. But yes, guys, so we need deals, right? We need deals. We're buying a lot of deals. In order to get 50 plus Airbnbs this year, we need deals. That's always
going to send them to you on Instagram. You want Instagram DMs? Is that how they should send
them? No, yeah. You can text me. You can hit me up on Instagram. That's totally fine.
Okay. Well, are you giving out your number, or do you want I'm trying to give it to the people right now.
Ooh. You have my you can send it to either Sam or me. I put my info in there too. They can text me.
You guys are putting it in the private chat.
Oh, so yeah.
I'll copy and paste. Oh yeah. So I'll copy and paste this stuff. I'll put it in the.
Oh. It's okay. Pace puts out my number all the time anyway, so it's totally
okay. I think this
is open, man.
I'm just putting in what you guys put in here. So that's your number. And then this is Faizul's.
Jonah, one of these days you actually have to tell me the story of that robe. I realized I never actually asked you about that.
There's no story. I just saw it on Etsy, and we're like, that's sick.
Total
I'm
bull,
buying
total
that.
bull. Like I know you went.
What
to
do you
Hogwarts
mean?
or something.
There's no.
Like, I know you're
story.
like I know you went.
It's
you're
just
like
the
a wizard.
dopest thing ever. It's just such a comfy robe, and it looks cool. It's literally it.
That news. I'm pretty sure Dumbledore gave it to him.
I mean, possibly. You never know, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for this. That was an amazing podcast. There are times when it's like that was good. I haven't had a bad one yet. I've had ones that were like good, and this was like amazing. Those are like the two categories I had. That you guys hit the amazing category because like I didn't even need to ask that many questions. Like I was naturally curious about what you're saying. I have like this thing that's like backup questions, which are like in case like it's stalling. Did not stall at all. You guys are killers. This has been amazing. Is there any last things you want to say to the people? Any last things you're trying to plug? Anything else other than your numbers, the Instagram, the deals? Anything else you want to say?
Faiz, anything?
I would say just guys, if you found it inspirational, or if you're like really at the edge, just go stick to it. Be consistent. Really, just showing up day in, day out, and you will see will get you results.
Love it. You guys are killers. Skorch the Fears, episode 16. I have been doing this for, that means what is that? That's 4 months. I've been doing this for 4 goddamn months. That's crazy. Well, thank you, everybody. That's nuts. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Funny enough, I think next week is Munif. I'm pretty sure. I gotta check it out. So that'll be a good one.
That's a great one.
I love it. So, all right, I'm ending it. Love you guys. Bye, peeps. I will see y'all